Thanks for staying with us. Let's close the program today with a review of the political scene, considering what is happening in all of the major parties. And hey, how about those other parties? Because there is no such thing as a minor party. Well, Professor Michael Abiodun joins us this morning. He is a professor of political science at Babcock University. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Good morning, sir.
Is it a concern to you or for you that we seem to be hearing just the voices or the prominence of just about 3 or 4 political parties out of about 18 or so that, according to INEC, we have?
You know, today I came here, I told you, you were saying it will be 4-horse race. And I told you it will be 3. One is fizzling out of the 4 you had in mind that day. So, but it has not finally fizzled out. It's dying, but it has not dead.
Dying?
It's dying. One of the parties of the 4. You get what I'm saying? As at the time I came here, we were arguing it will be 4-horse. You said it will be 4-horse race, and I told you no, it will be 3. By the time we get to the election, but now one is evaporating.
Which of these is the 4th that is ebbing out, according to you?
It's
because
NNDP, New Nigerian.
NNPP. Yeah, but
NNPP, yeah.
So where do you then put the SDP?
I said all those parties, you will see them. At the end of the day, they might match with the bigger parties based on their interests and ability of the bigger party to bargain. Or yes,
okay,
to bargain successively with them.
But one of the things you also said the last time you were here, sir, was that, you know, people will vote for parties based on the strength of certain individuals, based on the strength of the personalities that are involved in those parties. So, how about a situation where, for instance, one of these parties that you say might likely, you know, merge with the bigger ones, they have a strong, you know, candidate, very strong candidate, as we had in the case of Segun Mimiko when he became governor, I think, in Ondo State at the time. The Labour Party wasn't such a significant force to reckon with at the time.
It was only relevant in Ondo State. It was not a party, it did not have any tentacle beyond Ondo State that time.
Okay. So you don't see any such repeating itself in 2023 in any of the political parties?
Except where there will be some revolution. Can you get it? Where some members of bigger party wounded or felt bad, they can just trade off their votes to such smaller parties.
Okay. Now, talking about these big parties, as you call them, it would seem like quite a number of them are having their challenges, you know.
Yes.
How significant are these challenges if you want to take them one after the other?
You will remember too that I said that it will be difficult for me to sit down here that day and be predicting because they have challenges and the challenges are not fading away. In fact, that of the PDP is becoming another issue. Because Wike is insisting that you must go. And how do you want Atiku to sacrifice Ayu? For a lot of reasons, it will be difficult for the presidential candidate of PDP to sacrifice Ayu.
Even though, according to Governor Wike, he promised that that is what should happen.
You know, I was distinguishing between politics and politics that day. Most Nigerian politicians are politicians. They are not really politicians. When they tell you A, you should believe B. There was something I wrote recently too, and I said, he is a Wike, unfit politician for the Nigerian state. He's not fit to be a politician in Nigeria.
What do you mean by that?
He says it the way he sees it. And he doesn't know how to lie. Because he still believes that if he's a real politician, he will just keep quiet. Okay, fine, everything. 1 day, 2 days to the election, we tell his people, follow this. But he is already saying what is in his mind.
Okay.
So it's somebody people like us should follow. Can you get it? I discovered him late to be a man who says it the way he says it. And that is what is causing problem in the PDP. In fact, a week to the presidential primary of PDP, he was telling Seun Okinbaloye that Seun should be congratulating him ahead of the primary. As Seun said, how can I be congratulating you? Because I was so sure he would win. He was so sure. The Southern caucus had agreed that all of them should vote for a Southern candidate, that it is the turn of the South to produce. Not knowing that some of his colleagues are already having a different thinking. And when he came to the podium, if you watch the primary, if at the time I said, will my prediction fail today? Because I predicted Atiku will win, either Atiku or Wike. If you look at the ovation that greeted his address of the delegates, you will know until Aminu Tambuwa came to openly to direct his supporters to vote for Atiku.
Well, that's water under the bridge now, some would say, but clearly would look like the party doesn't seem to be taking that to heart too much. They're, as it were, moving on, they say. How do you think that is something to cheer?
Moving on without Wike. Yes, somebody I was reading in this morning that somebody said a tree cannot make a forest. That is true. But Wike is not alone. Wike has about 5 other governors with him. And Fayose is behind him too. So if you say it's Wike alone, it's not Wike. Makinde is there. Uguaye is there. Ipiasu is there. Fayose is behind them. Then Autumn is there. So if you say it's Wike alone, no, we should not downplay it. But my only fear is that the crisis lingers. And you see, different people have their own interests. I just pray he will not be disappointed again by some of those who claim he's following him now.
Chamberlain.
Well, Prof, Professor Oni, could you tell us, I mean, politicians in politics, there's always a challenge, an issue, or the other. It's never that 100% rancor-free. So, to what extent, or should we even make, how much in terms of seriousness should we give to all of these internal challenges that they have? Because if you look, before they all had their primaries, they all had issues. But the primaries have gone, maybe to a certain extent, but at least they've held the primaries, all of them. So isn't it making a mountain out of a molehill if we say, look, they've got challenges, they have internal wranglings, it may affect their performance in the election? Because at the end of the day, they may just pull together and then sort all of this out to the surprise of everybody else who's watching.
I think with 6 months or less, 6 months to the election, the party should by now settle down for serious issue-oriented campaign. But Wike is challenging the candidate, is challenging Atiku, and is making very serious demand on the party to remove the chairman. That all he wants is the chairman to go. In fact, the day the chairman of BOT resigned, I was questioning myself, is the problem over? Only for about 30 minutes later to see Wike running again, that is not what he wants, that BOT has no significant input into the party, that is the chairman. By now, they're supposed to have settled down. Because this crisis, pre the primary, supposed to have whittled down now, and for the parties to move on. The PDP hold is the most pronounced, and I think they can always sort themselves out. But Wike is a hard nut for the party to crack for now.
So Now, because even in APC this morning, we see them say the likes of former minister, former governor Rotimi Amechi, Ogbonnayonu, and Meka Wajuba all quoted to have said that they are aggrieved, but they will stay within the party. So they equally putting that one out there. But while they try to sort themselves out, the news that INEC saying there was actually attempts. They tried to hack the IREV, which is one area that Nigerians, lots of people are optimistic that gives them a glimmer of hope in terms of the potential outcome of the election. And now, and they're coming up with that news, even though they say, but they were glad to tell us that nothing. They didn't succeed with the hacking. How are you taking on that kind of message? Because that's huge.
Let me address the first issue you raised about Ogbonnaya Amechi saying they will stay within the party. They are even more dangerous than Wike. Because when you stay within the party, I say you agree, but we will stay. They will cause the damage within. Unlike Wike, who is saying his own out every day. Today, now, if there is any project for him to unveil, he will make another statement. But I know Amechi, I've been watching him. He has been unreasonably quiet in the recent time. Ogbonnaya has been unreasonably quiet in the recent time. Those people are dangerous. So you cannot wish them away. They have to be appealed to seriously, because you can't say that Wike, Amechi is not a power broker in Rivers. The party needs the vote from Rivers too. And if Wike remains in PDP, it's dangerous for Amechi's image there. Well, he might take all the vote away from Rivers. So the party needs to appeal to Amechi and Ogbonnaya to please stay with them faithfully instead of going out. For the election coming up, I told you when I came here the other time, I was going home to vote. Yes, and I did. With the process I saw, though there is nothing Nigerian politicians cannot do to seek for power and relevance, with what I saw, I think it will be difficult for anybody to tamper with the next election result. If you tamper with the server, can you tamper with the polling unit Bible that's where we accredited? I saw myself like this. Korokoro is not that they asked me to put my finger in somewhere and I could not see myself. The thing will still be there. We can still recollate everything and send to the server if they tamper with the larger one. Then they are still keeping the manual one. They should not do away with the manual one. You know, that one raised issues recently when somebody said that the manual one, it should still be going until we matured to a level when the electoral management of result will be stable. As at today, the two should go pari passu. That is my advice. And if what I saw in Osun,
in other words,
was anything to go by, I think there's hope for 2023 election.
Should we, that means you like the hybrid system, it should keep going. Should we take it for granted that those who the president has nominated and sent their names for clearance, we shouldn't make a mountain out of a molehill on that one, because there's not this feedback. Because, you know, the president several people had raised concerns concerning the caliber and the background of those persons who were nominated to fill those INEC positions. But we equally have heard some response of government saying, look, let the National Assembly deal with it. It is before them. So how should the populace respond to that?
I'll be listening to that argument. But if they found them to be card-carrying member of any party, it's not fair to other parties. They should be dropped. But there's difference between a card-carrying member of a party and sympathizers of a party. Can you get what I'm saying? If they are sympathizers and there's nothing serious to link them to a party, Aristotle said everybody is a political animal. As I'm sitting down here, as you have somebody, I went home to go and vote. Did you think I had voted for nobody? I voted for somebody. Does that one make me a politician? If they now appoint...
But Professor Oni,
sir?
Those are two different things. You are not being put in a position where you coordinate events politically, influencing them in one way or the other. Well, yes, you may be an umpire, but administratively you have a role to play, and that is a type of influence.
That's what I'm...
But how should we look at this scenario? If one was, say, a governorship candidate or aspirant, whatever it is, say about 8-10 years ago, and he is no longer in that position today, does he, even if the law says, as at the time that nomination is being done, if he were in that position, there may be a question mark. So should we then say, look, he's no longer or she's no longer in that position. That was a long time ago, and as such, it shouldn't matter now. Does that allegiance fizzle away just like that? Because many say, if it did, why did they bring them back on? Because they thought that it doesn't just fizzle out like that. What do you think?
My take is that if that person is linked now, with membership of a particular party, particularly the ruling party, they are not fit to be in that position. Now, that they have held position in the past, they could have pulled out of the party, leave the party, but the allegiance, the sympathy will still be there. But you cannot measure the sympathy. What you can measure is whether they are card-carrying member. And there are minutes of meeting of political parties where they attended. You can provide those evidences. That one should automatically disqualify them. But to link them to appointment of the past.
In other words, you're suggesting that we should just focus on what the law says and not perception, even though to a lot of people, perception is reality.
Sometimes there could be wrong perception. No? Don't say perception is reality. It's not all the time. That is not valid for all the time. We should look at what the law says. That is it. But because if you want to make an allegation against somebody, it must be made within the ambit of the law. If you are arguing outside the ambit of the law...
Okay. Well, so, one of the things that I find quite interesting in that, Prof, is, so on the one hand, INEC has its own responsibilities that it is doing, taking on, and all of that. But then, I mean, listening to the INEC chairman, he has already, of course, given that, assurance and all. But consider the huge logistic considerations that INEC has to put into place. As of 2019, the voter register was 84 million. Now we have 96 million people on the ballot. And according to the INEC chairman, that's like almost like conducting elections for all of Africa.
Yeah.
Now, considering that, the number of people that they have to put in, how, and the levels of authority at the various polling units, how do we ensure the credibility of the people that are being recruited into that process?
You see, electoral or election management is becoming more interesting. I've been part of it for a very long time. When it was root and root, when it was unfair and unfree, you got upset. But now we are moving to a situation where the concept of free and fair election, we are getting there. I was at home to vote, and I monitored my ballot, my my polling unit, I was there. Everybody accepted the result of the election because it was everywhere, only to learn that Oyetola had gone to court. Let's wait for what he will bring to.
But that's in one state. Now we're talking about the entire nation, like 3 or 4 various electoral constituencies.
Yeah, they need to recruit more. They need to recruit more.
It's the process of recruiting those people that I'm talking about.
That is the problem now.
Yes.
That you are looking at whether they are partisan.
Yeah, and the credibility that will come out of it at the end of the day.
Yeah. We need to look at the credibility. We need to look at the partisanship. I used to tell people anywhere I am, I'm not a politician. And I am not sure I will be one in a hurry, except this electoral revolution, is seen through. But if it is take money, they are still doing take money, vote and take money, or take money and photo. But if this electoral revolution, after this 2003, we will know where we are going in Nigeria, whether the vote will count or the money will count.
You stated, you spoke copiously about the PDP the other time. You stated, the APC, but you haven't spoken about the third force, the Labour Party, as much. Concerning the issues in the APC, do you think it's too late in the day to address those issues, having taken so long between May and now for us to hear anything from those who are, as they said, aggrieved?
The bigger the head, the bigger the headache. Apology to late MKO Abiola. Because the party is in power. The party claim, I don't have my data, I don't have my fact, to have about 43 million members across Nigeria. You see, everybody wants to seek relevance, And the way they manage their primary was tilted towards the governors. The senators are one part, the governors are one part. And I'm telling you, the governors, have both the purse and the power. And the party hierarchy will hardly, condemn governors' action because they are the party leaders in their states.
Okay.
And if you look at the Northwest, they have a lot of problems between the governors and the senators. I think that is being resolved now.
Okay.
Because they are no longer saying they are leaving the party. So they are being assuaged. So let us wait till that. For the Labour Party cannot have problem. What problem do you think they will have? The only problem they have now is financial problem. So if somebody said they have problem, they are struggling. They are struggling to come into being.
Is that to say there is nothing to contend over among the members?
What to contend about? What is it to contend about? There's nothing. There's nothing than to maintain this social media hype and see how it will transform to vote in 2003.
How do you think that can happen?
How?
The transformation from social media to actual votes?
I'm a researcher. I cannot be coming to a conclusion when the research has not been concluded.
Okay.
So
but if you permutate based on the trajectory.
But I was in Osun. Okay. I was doing the vote they had. The party I was about 100 and something votes. Can you get it? In Ekiti, the same thing. So based on that, I'm building my political research base. But it's too early in the day.
Okay. How about the officiating or the administration of the party itself? Because it would seem, just as you have noticed, the hype, so to speak, is because of the personality of one individual, their presidential candidate. But there are those who wonder, look, as you said earlier, but one tree cannot make a forest.
It will be difficult.
Exactly. So how do you see the party administration, helping to bolster that hype that you mentioned just now?
It's a party the party bumped into the political terrain unprepared.
Bumped?
to the political terrain unprepared. But I want to salute Obi. Let me come out clearly. Obi, in fact, the first person to be saluted, I don't know why, when Umahi defected to APC, I called one of his special advisors, who happened to be my colleague in school. I said, what is this man looking for in APC, knowing fully well that the Southeast is not for? I said he has seen that the party, the PD, will not give the ticket to anybody from the South, but in the North. So he was not ready to waste his time. So he had to defect and leave. If he had been an independent person like Obi, maybe he would be making wave now. But he should know too, because I told that special advisor too that he had defected in the wrong party. If he had wanted to seek political relevance and is seeking for presidency for his people, then he said, I said they won't give him. I have been spending most of my academic life to study Nigerian politics. From what is on the ground now, they won't give him too. Obi saw it before Wike saw it. Obi quickly, no, Obi resigned. I said, where is this man going? The man now hijacked the Labour Party. He's making wave for about 2 reasons.
Well, I guess we'll have to see how that pans out, just as you said earlier.
Yes.
Michael Abiodun, Professor of Political Science, Babcock University, thank you so much for your time and perspectives this morning.
Thank you.